Chapter 40, Campus Riot. 2 days after Tris arrived in Los Angeles, there was a shooting on the UCLA campus. It was national news. 2 Black Panther leaders, Bunchy Carter and Johnny Huggins, died in a shootout with a rival group, Operation Us. Both groups wanted to head up the Black Studies program at UCLA. Tris called me up the night it happened, Kathy told Candy over breakfast. He told me he was there, and he said his supervisor was injured. Bummer. But is Tris okay? He says he's okay, Candy, but it didn't sound like it to me. I called Karen, and she said he did have a scuffle with someone. That's hard to picture. What happened? It was a public meeting. Tris and his supervisor from Dare to Be Great went there to look for Yvette Boucher. She's from Tris's hometown, but now she's in the Black Panthers. You told me about her. So what happened? Well, the guy who recruited her, who is not a nice man, and Brother Waters, they had words, and the next thing you know, the Panther guy cold cocks him. Yikes. That's when Tris took the guy on. He didn't tell me about that, but Karen said he stopped the attack, and then the shootout started. All of a sudden, there's cops everywhere, and a bunch of people got arrested. The paper said they arrested 75 people, right, Kathy? But Tris wasn't one of them, and he wasn't hurt, right? No, he wasn't. But Yvette's in jail, and Brother Waters has a concussion and a broken jaw. That means Tris's orientation and training, everything's been pushed back for at least a week, so he won't be back in time for Ginny's wedding. Bummer, Candy said. Yeah, I guess I should be glad. I mean, it could have been a whole lot worse. Wellspring was busier than ever. Every weekend, they did 2 or 3 shows. The people adored them and showed their appreciation with large checks. They were always asked when they could come back. Pete usually came along. He was always accompanied by Karen. She kept him on a short leash and kept everyone posted on Tris's doings. Frog handled the business end of things. Leslie sent out numerous thank you notes to the nursing homes. She and Kathy called people to see who was available whenever they had an activity planned. Betty Lou was making an excellent income during the week, selling books out of her car. Val liked that because Betty Lou bought her a lot of new outfits and contributed to her growing record collection. The community services program, spearheaded by Val, Conchita, and Eric, began on a Saturday. 6 junior high school boys shoveled walks and driveways after a big snow. The Wellspring Fund, now more than $1,500, paid each boy $5 per driveway and $2.50 per walk. Between the 6 boys, they cleared 10 driveways and 22 walks and earned a total of $105. Along the way, the boys visited seniors in their homes, where they were treated to cookies and hot chocolate. Gabe and Val supervised one crew of 3 boys. Eric and Conchita supervised the second crew. Wellspring traveled to the VA hospital in Pittsburgh in 3 cars the Sunday morning after their big work day. Kathy rode in Karen's Mercedes along with Pete, Gabe, and Leslie. The rest rode up with Frog or Eric. Ginny and Rita were there. So were Artie and Judy. Dennis was no longer a patient, but he came and sang Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, accompanied by Pete, Gabe, and Eric. He told the troupe He'd been fitted for his prosthetic limb and hoped to have it for Ginny's wedding, which was just 3 weeks down the road. He told them he'd been accepted at Lions U beginning in the spring. Val told Dennis how they'd gone out and shoveled snow and that she had appointments set up to feed and walk dogs, clean garages, pick up groceries, and wash windows. The Solomons took everyone out for pizza. The VA didn't give them any money. But later that week, Wellspring received 2 $100 checks in the mail. One from Artie and Judy, and one from Dennis. Heaven went through major changes. She exercised almost every day. She worked in the stable with the horses. She cut her hair short and let it grow back in its natural color, light brown. She quit smoking, drinking, and using drugs. She started drinking herbal tea, eating brown rice, fresh fruit, vegetables, and a lot of salads. She spent most of her time on the road with Charity, or at home typing up various proposals that Charity had dictated on a miniature recording machine. One thing that held up funding for the movie was the lack of a finished screenplay. All they had was a bunch of ideas. Charity, Gabe, and his old friend Nate Schwartz, a theater major, began to outline the story. They play-acted an assortment of scenes on a cheap tape recorder. Kathy and Gabe regularly met after cinema class with Frog and Candy. Her pregnancy had become more obvious, and she was truly happy about it. It was no big deal for her to hang out with Betty Lou or Val. They had completely warmed to her. Val blossomed as a keyboardist and wrote new songs every week. Betty Lou played songs on her auto harp and led worship at the church. Eric and Conchita spent a lot of time together. She'd lose her temper sometimes and stomp out, but they always made up. Pastor John Parrish let Eric teach Tai Chi and karate at the church. Conchita and Heaven were in his class. Leslie's weight dropped to under 100 pounds. One day, she passed out at work. Karen drove her to the hospital. All the Wellspring people came to see her. After 2 days, Karen brought her home, and soon Leslie started to eat again. After Ginny's wedding, Leslie told Kathy what happened. When I was 14, I went to see Alan at Penn State. He lived in a frat house. They had a party Saturday night, and I got a little drunk. I just wanted to lie down and go to sleep. But a couple of the frat boys followed me, and they locked the door, and they started pulling my clothes off. I screamed, but they put their hand over my mouth. After I went home, I just wanted to die. But I never talked to Alan or anyone about it, but I'm sure he knew what happened when he was driving me back to school. Well, I finally told him how much it hurt me that he didn't do anything. That's when he lost control of the car and crashed it. Right after I told him, he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and he went right through the windshield. As Leslie's eyes teared up, Kathy held her hand and comforted her. I asked Karen, should I tell my parents or my sister, Taffy, what happened? See, they all remember Alan as a really good guy, and he always was, too. I just don't think they could handle if I told him what happened. She understood what I meant. She said the important thing was that I told someone. And she was so right, 'cause the same thing happened to her once when she was 16, and she tried keeping it all to herself, but she wound up in a mental hospital before she could even talk about it. I really love Karen. She said you know about what happened to her. Kathy nodded. She told me about it right after her husband died. I couldn't understand what was happening to me, Leslie continued. But I know I blamed myself for what happened to Alan. She told me it wasn't my fault, and what happened at Penn State, that wasn't my fault either. But I have to forgive Alan for being afraid, for not protecting me. Anyway, I'm a lot better now, and I started enjoying food again. Quite a bit, in fact, because Karen's a great chef. I had to tell myself to stop. Her cooking was so good. Oh, and I've been writing some comedy sketches for you and me. Want to hear one? Gabe wanted to get Ginny a really nice wedding gift, but he was stumped. He finally went with a fondue pot and an assortment of cheeses, a suggestion Kathy, Ginny's maid of honor, made as the event neared. They left Thursday afternoon and arrived just in time for the rehearsal and the rehearsal dinner. Ginny was excited to see them. Dennis was too. His new leg looked just like a real one, even if he walked like a kid riding a bike for the first time. Rita gave Gabe as warm a welcome as he'd ever received in his life. She told him, and anyone else who would listen, how his singing had lifted her spirits when she was really down, and how he needed to get his songs recorded so everyone could listen to them. The rehearsal went smoothly. At the dinner that followed, Kathy and Gabe sat at the head table with Dennis, Ginny, Rita, Link, and his parents, Dr. and Mrs. Sheldon Isaacs, who thought it was wonderful that a Jewish boy was singing at the wedding. They asked Gabe if he knew any songs by Shlomo Carlebach and seemed disappointed he'd never heard of him. They told him all about the Baal Teshuvah movement. Carlebach, or Reb Shlomo as they referred to him, had started Baal Teshuvah a few years earlier in San Francisco to encourage young hippies to return to their Jewish roots. They were pleased to hear Gabe was pre-med, until he told them he wasn't sure he really wanted to be a doctor. That's when Rita said, "Just wait till you hear him sing, Sheldon. Then you'll understand. Believe me." Dennis told Kathy and Gabe he'd chosen broadcasting as his major. Ginny and Link talked about the business plan for Camporama. Link and Randy were eyeing a property at a new shopping mall in a prosperous part of Pittsburgh, they said. Dr. Isaacs thought they had chosen a great location. Dennis said Dr. Isaacs was one of the investors. Early the next morning, Kathy and Gabe took Hoss for a long walk. I could tell his parents are less than thrilled their son's marrying a Gentile, Gabe said. Do you think she'll be happy married to Link anyway? I want her to be. And Link's really nice. But I don't know. Do you ever think about getting married, Kat? Sure, Gabe. Who doesn't? I just don't think I'm ready. Not for a while, anyway. When I get married, Gabe said, I definitely want the kind of marriage your parents have, not one like mine have. That's what I want, she said, and I won't settle for anything less. They packed their wedding outfits and gifts and headed for Market Street in her Valiant. Artie and Judy were handling last-minute preparations for the bridesmaids and groomsmen. Gabe gave Kathy a box of candy and a bouquet of flowers later that morning, along with a corny Valentine's Day card. They all rode to the Unitarian Church for a 12 o'clock photo shoot. The wedding started promptly at 1:30. Artie and Randy were the ushers. An organist played the traditional march as Ginny walked to the front, accompanied by Rita, who was a picture of serenity. "Dearly beloved," the minister began. He talked about the meaning of marriage. He read a passage from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. He spoke about the yin and yang principle, how when God joins a man and a woman together, they become one person. He nodded at Gabe. He nodded again and nodded a third time. Gabe rose from his seat in the front row and walked onto the platform. He picked up his guitar, faced the crowd, and sang.
Sometimes I think I've got it bad. Nothing goes my way, and I get mad. That's when you look at me, and my heart melts, and everything's alright somehow. If I never told you I love you, baby, I'm telling you now. You've got a special way of making it all okay. I don't know how, but baby, I'm telling you now that ever since you came my way, I wake up with a smile every single day. That's when I look at you and your love abounds, and everything's alright somehow. If I never told you I need you, baby, I'm telling you now.
"That was beautiful, man," Dennis whispered as Gabe returned to his seat. Link nodded appreciatively. Kathy mouthed the word "wow." Judy squeezed his left hand and Rita his right as he sat between them. He looked at the bride. Ginny mouthed the words "thank you." With a tear in his eye, Gabe bowed his head. The minister began the reciting of the vows. Dennis presented the rings. Link and Ginny put them on each other's hands. The minister pronounced Lincoln Aaron Isaacs and Virginia Madeline Rizzitano, husband and wife. Link kissed his bride. Afterward, there was food, drink, and dancing. The band played waltzes, polkas, a lot of ballads, and a few Jewish songs, including Hava Nagila. The Jewish and Catholic families went their separate ways during the reception, but Rita and Judy were all over the room. As a result, Kathy and Gabe met nearly all of Link's family and friends, including his 6-year-old son, Brett. "I liked your song, sir," he said. "Isn't my grandson handsome?" Rita said. Link and Ginny began the dancing with a romantic, slow number. Then Link danced with Rita, and Ginny danced with Dr. Isaacs. As each number ended, more people were invited onto the floor. Ginny danced with Gabe. "That was so beautiful, Gabe," she said. "Not as beautiful as you," he said. "When you get married," she said, "I hope I'll be there." "Me too, Ginny," he said. "Me too." Dennis held Kathy close as they danced to Over the Rainbow. He was wobbly and almost fell, but Kathy caught him. She then stumbled on her high heels, and they both hit the floor. They got up quickly. Dennis took a grand bow. They embraced to loud applause. Link and Ginny stayed at the Wyndham Hotel in downtown Pittsburgh that night. The next morning, they flew down to Charleston, South Carolina, where they stayed at a beachside motel for a week. Back at the Solomons, Gabe is sharing a song when the phone rings. "Oh, hi, Tris," Judy says. "It went very well, dear. How are you?" "I'm glad to hear that. What's the weather like out there?" "Good." "Yes, she's right here, sweetie. Would you like me to put her on?" Kathy speaks with Tris for quite a while as Gabe entertains her parents in the living room. "It was a nice wedding," Kathy told Gabe later. "I'm really glad you could be part of it." "Me too, Kat," Gabe said. They kissed each other on the cheek and shared a long hug before retiring to their rooms. Chapter 41, And the Cat Came Back. On the ride back to Cross, Kathy decided to drop in on Harvey. "This happens every time I talk to Tris," she said. "I feel like I need to go see Harv, or at least write him a letter." "Every time I talk to him," Gabe said, "I feel like I need to quit smoking weed and start reading In His Steps." They found Harvey in a semi-conscious state. He stirred after a while, squinted, and said, "Is that you, Tris?" "This is Gabe, Harvey," Kathy said. "He's been wanting to meet you for a long time." "Babe, is it?" "Gabe, sir, with a G. Candy and Frog and Cat and Tris, they talk about you all the time." "Young artists do find me fascinating, sir. So play me a song. Okay, young man?" "Want to hear the one I played at our friend's wedding on Valentine's Day?" Harvey's face lit up. "A wedding tune? Are you one of those hopeless romantics?" "Guilty as charged, by reason of insanity," Gabe said. "I like this kid," Harvey said. Gabe played I'm Telling You Now. "Very, very nice," Harvey said. "You got any country songs?" "Yes, I do. This one is Southern Fried, just for you."
Oh, slap the chicken, clap your hands, kick back and listen to a country band. This is the music of the promised land. So slap the chicken, clap your hands. Well, I was raised in a country home with the guitars ringing like telephones. My daddy showed me his special brand of slapping chicken and a clapping hand. Oh, slap the chicken, clap your hands, kick back and listen to a country band. This is the music of the promised land. Oh, slap the chicken, clap your hands. Slap the chicken, clap your hand, kick back and listen to a country band. This is the music of the promised land. Oh, slap the chicken. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Clap your hands.
He's good, Kathy girl. So Tris is coming back this week? I'm sure you'll see him, she said. Karen was here yesterday with young Peter. How's our girl Candy? She's doing good, Kathy said. I'll tell her you were asking about her. They stayed an hour. The old man nodded off. They tiptoed out. He gets more visitors than just about anybody here, a nurse said. But his emphysema's really bad, and now he has congestive heart failure. I'm surprised he's lasted this long. Wellspring had another Sunday engagement. Gabe was up early, mucking the stalls. Charity came out, looking lovely in a casual outfit. How was the wedding? It was nice, he said. What's wrong? She asked. I don't know. You do know how much I care about you, don't you? If there's anything I can do, please let me know. But you've done so much already, Charity. I feel like I'm imposing. I've been here over a month. That's only because I like having you here. You're very sweet and you're very helpful. Believe me, I notice the things you do to keep it neat around here, and I appreciate it. I probably should tell you more often. Let me explain something to you. May I? Okay. You're very gifted, but people with your kind of talent sometimes struggle with the simple, mundane things of life. They always want to do something great or create something new. It becomes an obsession, a kind of madness, really. When they're not creating something, they think they have no value. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? He was near tears. You need a safe place, Gabe, where your gifts can blossom, where you can rest and recharge your batteries. If you don't have that, that's when you can be self-destructive, because you always want to do more for others than you're capable of doing. That's why you're here. And that's why we're having this conversation. Heaven came out. She was stunningly beautiful in her blue silk shirt and purple leotard. We probably should get going. I can whip up some chow, Charity, while Gabe gets ready. That would be wonderful, dear, Charity said. Go get cleaned up, she said to Gabe. He hurried up the stairs and jumped in the shower. I've got to stop feeling so guilty, he thought as he scrubbed. If this were someone else's life, I'd be totally envious. Gabe and Heaven rode to Timmins with Kathy and Leslie in Frog's Dodge. Leslie gushed about how much Karen had helped her. She told Kathy that Hannah, the old woman who had taken such a shine to her, had just died. Wellspring was well received at the nursing home. Back at the well, Val, Connie, and Lamb gushed about how much work their Saturday morning cruise had done. Val said the boys from the migraines had painted a back porch and restored a deck. They're really getting their sound down too, Val said. They're doing open mic on Friday. Frog said there was $2,195 in the Wellspring account, and they were booked solid for the rest of the year. But I only booked us a few dates in the summer, because I'm not sure anyone's gonna be here, including yours truly. Just hope to have me a friend or two in July. Barbarians need not apply. Frog gave Heaven and Gabe a ride back to the house. "You look like you need a hug," Heaven said as they walked inside. "Boy, Heaven, do I ever." "Come here," she said. She gave him a wonderful hug, very sweet and loving, like one of Judy's. He began to cry. She squeezed him even tighter and let him cover her shoulder with his tears. "I don't know what's wrong with me," he said. "I think you don't like school," she said. "Really? Is that what you think it is?" "Just my theory. What do you think it is?" "I wish I knew. But you're right, I definitely don't like school. I've got a report due Wednesday for cinema class, and exams coming up in German, religion, and organic chem in the middle of the week, and naturally, I haven't even begun to prepare for any of them. I feel like the world's closing in on me." "I don't miss it at all," Heaven said. "In fact, I'm glad it's over. Did you make good grades in high school?" "Straight A's. I'm way below that now. Do you think that's what's bothering you?" "I'd hate to think I'm that shallow." "You're not shallow, Gabe. But you feel like your parents are disappointed in you, right?" "Oh, they are. That's an understatement, believe me. And since they're paying for you to be here, you feel like you're letting them down, right?" "Holy crap, Heaven. How do you know all this?" "I know all the ins and outs of parental guilt, although for me it's only one parent, my mother. I could never please her. I suppose in some peculiar way, she spurred me on to work harder and harder and keep practicing my diving or baton twirling or gymnastics, ballet, whatever it was, hour after hour. I won a lot of prizes, but I was miserable. When I was in the hospital, I thought I'd die of embarrassment. But then, when Mama didn't come up, I realized something." She paused. "What?" "She never won any diving competitions, or pretty much anything at all. It was way more important for her than it was for me to come in first. I had to win, all the time. And when I didn't, well, it was always because I wasn't working hard enough, or because I couldn't handle the pressure and I was a joker." "Is that what she told you?" "Not in those words, dear. But then she didn't have to, 'cause I was programmed to think that way. Win, you're good. Lose, you're nothing." "Wow, girl. This used to be where we'd light up a joint and I'd start having fantasies about you and me going upstairs. You're so off the wall, Gabe. I just love how your mind works." "You do?" "I do. You're a fantastic roommate and friend. If your parents think academic achievement is all you're good for, Gabe, I feel sorry for them." "Well, thanks. I think you're one fantastic woman. I guess you're pretty excited about seeing old Tris again, yeah?" "Of course I am, but we both know he's in love with Kathy." She shrugged her shoulders. "I think he knows how you feel, too, don't you?" "I'm sure he does. And he's always been very sweet. I'm just not his number one. And I suppose I never will be. I think I'm going to finish the stables, my dear. What are we doing about supper?" "I've been having a little fried chicken, Jones. There's a box in the freezer, the cheap, greasy kind. What do you think?" "Sounds great. About an hour?" "Perfect. When's Charity getting back?" "She didn't say." He gave her his best hug and walked outside. It was frigid. The stalls were 70% cleaned. He loaded up the wheelbarrow with manure, dumped it, and filled it again. He chatted with the horses and goats, as he did. Just as he finished mucking out the last stall, he heard a faint sound, a meow. The sound got louder. He started saying, "Here, kitty! Here, kitty! Kitty, kitty!" Then he saw her. Gina! He felt total elation. She had a big sleepy in her eyes, and she sneezed several times. But she started purring as soon as he picked her up. He ran into the house. Heaven was mashing the potatoes. "Wow," she said. "This has to be a sign from God." They didn't have any cat food, so Gina ate a can of tuna. Heaven and Gabe feasted on fried chicken, pork and beans, and mashed potatoes. He ate twice as much as he needed to and drank copious amounts of coffee. Later, while attempting to study, he ate 2 big bowls of Neapolitan ice cream slathered with Jif crunchy peanut butter and whipped cream. He went to sleep with a bellyache and a sneezing cat in his bed. Chapter 42, Exhaustion. After popping no-dos and pulling an all-nighter, all Gabe had to show for his efforts were a high D on his German exam and a low C in chemistry. He'd made a B on the comparative religions midterm on Tuesday, but Kathy Frog and even Lynn made A's. The mother voice in his head pestered him relentlessly for not only screwing up his own life, but the entire family's as well, with his foolhardy pursuit of music that would never lead to anything of value. "You can always get a job at a gas station," the father voice reminded him. Friday afternoon, he had his second meeting with a probation officer. Miss Green was a fetching dark-haired woman with big, pouty lips. "I'm happy to inform you that you passed, Mr. Horevich," she said that morning, shortly after he presented his specimen. "But you don't look so good. Are you sick?" "I haven't been getting much sleep. I just feel depressed lately. A counselor might help," she said. "The state will pay for it if I recommend someone." "You don't think I'm mentally ill, do you?" "Oh, not at all, sir. You just need somebody who can help you sort out why you're feeling so down. I know someone in town, Cliff Hunter. He helped me about 10 years ago when I was a freshman at Lyons. Do you want me to make an appointment for you?" "Oh, I don't know. Do you think it will help?" "Can't hurt. When's a convenient time?" "Tuesday or Thursday in the afternoon." "Wait a second. I model on Thursday, but Tuesday's free." "You're a model?" "For the art department. I've got to run, Miss Green. Are we finished?" "I can call Dr. Hunter?" "Sure. Give me a buzz if he can see me Tuesday afternoon." "When will you be in?" "I'll be in and out today. But you can leave a message with my roommate. She's probably over there now." "You're living with a woman?" "2 women, Miss Green. It was 3, but the third one robbed the safe and disappeared. She's wanted in 3 states. Miss Green giggled. "You're pulling my leg, aren't you?" "I'm not, Miss Green. But don't worry, it's not half bad, really. 'Cause she was a psycho. I really gotta go, Miss Green. Thanks for your help." "You're welcome, Mr. Horevich. We'll be meeting again on March 21st at 1 o'clock. Please take care of yourself, okay?" He found a payphone and called Charity. He told her she needed to find his report and run it over to the Crosley building, but she couldn't find it. "I must have left it at Nate's. If Miss Green calls, take a message for me. She thinks I need a counselor. Do you think I need one? I wouldn't say you need one, dear, but it might be helpful. When are you getting in? I'm modeling till 6. Need me to pick you up? I can get a ride. Or Thumb. I'll pick you up, Gabe. Okay, I better get going. He had 20 minutes to pick up his report on Citizen Kane and get to class. Nate was out, but the door was open. He searched frantically but couldn't find it anywhere. He did find a couple of roaches, which he dumped in a small pipe and smoked. Miss Green thinks I'm nuts, he thought, as he zipped to the Crossley building, where Mr. Grappelli was just starting to take roll. As he sat down with Kathy, Candy, and Frog, he saw a look of concern on their faces, especially Kathy's. I turned in your paper, she whispered. Nate dropped it off. You left it there last night. We didn't know if you were coming. Are you okay? Grappelli began to talk at length about the meteoric rise to stardom of Orson Welles, who co-wrote, produced, directed, and starred in Citizen Kane, based on the life of media tycoon William Randolph Hearst. Hearst used his millions to suppress the film, Grappelli said, and he persecuted the movie theater owners who dared to promote it. He made it difficult for Welles to hook up with any of the major studios afterward, either as a director or an actor. Truth be told, the government and media have been in cahoots for years. They control what you see and hear on the radio, the big screen, but especially television. I met Orson Welles in the late 40s when he was still married to Rita Hayworth. What a goddess! He exposed the corruption, all right, but the battle took an enormous toll on him. Still, he's continued to work, in spite of all the obstacles, even after he became an alcoholic and his weight ballooned to nearly 400 pounds. After class, Grappelli called Gabe over. How's the story coming along? We didn't get a lot done this week, Gabe said, but now that midterms are over, I think we can finish it by the end of next month. At least our first draft. I can help you. I honestly believe we can make a first-rate flick. Charity tells me you're brilliant, but it's endless work, Gabe. And personally, I wish it didn't cost so damn much money. But you don't have to worry about that. Are you okay, man? You don't look like you're feeling too good. Just tired. Well, we all need our sleep, Gabe. That is the secondary function of our beds, after all. I'll talk to you Monday about getting together to finish our screenplay, all right? Tell Charity and Heaven I said hi. Frog, Cat, and Candy were waiting at the door. What was that all about? Candy asked. The movie script. They wanted to go out for pizza, but Gabe had to model. In the dressing room, he started feeling dizzy and short of breath. Determined to tough it out, he began to undress. After 2 poses, the instructor said, Gabe, you're not yourself today. Aren't you feeling well? I can do it, he insisted. Oh, I appreciate that about you, Gabe. Truly I do, she said. But how about we just sit and we don't worry about your body at all? We'll draw you from shoulders up. Then we'll do a profile pose. How does that sound? You sure are good to me, Miss Crow. He put his pants back on and sat in the easy chair while the students drew his head and shoulders. He turned to the side and posed with his chin resting on his hand. Normally, he got paid every 2 weeks in the mail, but they took a collection for him at the end of the class. He got an extra $34. He put his clothes back on and waited outside until he saw Charity's Porsche She jumped out and hurried over to give him a big hug. "I've been so worried about you," she said. "Why?" he said. "I'm okay." They went to Mickey's, the 24-hour diner on Eli Culbertson Boulevard. Charity ordered a club sandwich. Gabe got macaroni and cheese and a cup of chili. "Jack says he wants to help me and Nate finish the screenplay," Gabe said. Charity sighed. "I don't think so, dear. He tends to take over, and we don't need this to turn into a two-headed monster. Miss Green called. You have a 1:30 appointment Tuesday with Dr. Hunter. I know I asked you already, Charity, but do you think I should go? It's like I'm admitting I'm screwed up. Right now, precious, you need rest. We're going back to the house. You're going to take a hot bath, and then you're going to bed. I can do the bath, Charity. I'll even take a nap. But the migraines are doing open mic. I told them I'll be there. Gabriel, you look like death warmed over. You're not going anywhere. Not till you get a good night's sleep. I'm taking you home. You're staying home, and that's all there is to it." Heaven was also concerned about how tired he looked. She and Charity hustled him up the steps. They said they'd be back to tuck him in after his bath. Once in the tub, awash with scented bubbles from Mexico, Gabe started to calm down. He lay and soaked at least an hour and nearly passed out several times. He toweled himself off and put on a flannel nightshirt. He tried to play a couple of tunes, but after a coughing spell, he put the guitar away and climbed into bed. Charity and Heaven both stopped in to kiss him goodnight and tell him they loved him. He dreamed he was walking down a long, dark hallway. A pair of hooded figures, dressed in black, grabbed him and pulled him into a room. He wanted to fight them off, but he couldn't move. They threw him on a bed, tied a big chain around him, and soaked him with gasoline. Then they lit a match. He was ablaze. He woke up, scared out of his mind. It was early, about 5 o'clock. He couldn't go back to sleep, so he took another bubble bath. He lay down again. His cat stood guard atop his chest. Heaven and Charity were sitting in the living room when he came down the stairs. They began to fuss over him, insisting he lie on the couch while they made him toast and soft-boiled eggs. They covered him with an electric blanket and took his temperature, 102.5 degrees. Charity gave him cold medicine. "You're staying home," she said. She gave Heaven a ride to the well. Gabe lay there, weak, tired, and depressed. His heart felt irretrievably broken. The phone rang. It was his father. "Your mother and I thought we might send Gil for a visit. We're flying to Israel for the week. He's got spring vacation. Do you think you can handle him for a week?" "Sure, Dad. We have an extra room. When's he coming?" "We're putting him on the bus Saturday morning. We'll be back Thursday night. His return trip's Friday morning." "What are you doing in Israel?" "It's a tour. The university gave us the tickets for that syllabus I put together for the School of Science. A nifty surprise, really. She's been asking me to take her for years." "Congratulations, Dad. I'm happy for you and Mom." "How are your classes going, Gabe?" "What a week. 3 midterms and a report on Citizen Kane. I didn't know about William Randolph Hearst and Marion Davies. Did you know her nephew married Orson Welles' first wife?" "No. Why would I? The med schools don't care about your electives. They're looking at your science grades. You doing okay in organic chemistry, Gabe?" "I'm sure trying, Dad." "Then I'm sure you'll do well. Are you still seeing that gorgeous blonde?" "All the time. I sang at her best friend's wedding on Valentine's Day in Pittsburgh. She's Catholic, but the guy she married is Jewish. I see. Well, she's calling me, Gabe. I've got to go. I'll get back to you soon as we know what time Gil's getting in. I'll tell her you said hello, okay? He took another bubble bath. The Doors' album, Strange Days, only accentuated his frustration and languor. He tried to rest in bed. Unable to sleep, he pulled out the book Kathy had given him and read about 20 pages. He started to drift off, only to run up against the dream with the burning bed again. Gabe walked downstairs and flipped on the TV. A man tried to break the world indoor record for the pole vault, but his pole snapped. He was carried off the field on a stretcher. The peanut butter sandwich he made tasted like sand. He couldn't eat more than one bite. As a car pulls up the gravel driveway, Gabe runs upstairs to put on a sweater and a pair of jeans. Looking out his window, he sees Triss's blue truck pull to a stop. Kathy, Heaven, Leslie, Val, Frog, and Triss walk toward the front door. He runs downstairs and parks himself on the living room couch, trying to appear calm as the front door opens. The army marches in like a fireworks display, besieging him with hugs and kisses. Heaven and Leslie zoom to the kitchen. Triss embraces Gabe tenderly. Hope you don't mind. We decided to pop in, pal. Shoot, man, Gabe says. I was lonely as all get out. One can only take so many bubble baths. You should have heard the migraines last night, Val says. They rocked the joint like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, Frog says. We're definitely going to have the microbes back soon. It's migraine, Smarty, Val says. We repaired a front porch this morning and walked 6 dogs and washed 8 cars, inside and out, and a Ford pickup, too. Oh, and someone's pantry was all moldy because the window leaked, so Eric fixed it. And Noodles and Casey scraped out all the crud. It was gross. We have to go back and spray it tonight. I've got Keating's lecture notes, Kathy says. He was in a really nasty mood because half the class skipped. Nasty mood, Frog says. The man suffers from chronic insolence and permanent pelvis envy. You'll excuse my Serbo-Croatian. Heaven and Leslie lay out a big snack tray and a pitcher of Tang. The pizza'll be ready in just a few minutes, Leslie says. How's the movie coming along, Triss asks. Slowly, Gabe says. How was L.A.? Did you see the shooting? I was outside when it happened. I heard you were wonderful at the wedding. It was special, bro. Ginny was so beautiful and happy. And Dennis finally got his leg. He's coming here in the spring. Kathy told me. I'd love to hear the song you played. Not today. My throat's raw. What about you, pal? Written anything lately? Triss nods. Play the one about the eyes of the world, Val says. Hold on, Triss says. I'll get my guitar. Use mine, Gabe says. Triss pulls it out of the case and retunes the strings. Help me with the rhythm, guys, he says. As he begins to play, Val taps rhythms on the coffee table. Heaven shakes some tinkling bells slowly.
In the eyes of the world, you're only as good as your last at bat or your last hit song. In the eyes of the world, you're only as good as your last at bat or your last hit song.
when the Lord looks at you, it is a glorious thing. For in the eyes of the Lord, you are a child of the King. In the eyes of the world, your value depends on the clothes that you wear and who are your friends. In the eyes of the world, your value depends on the clothes that you wear and who are your friends. But when the Lord looks at you, it is a glorious thing. For in the eyes of the Lord, you are a child of the King.
That's an awesome song, brother, Gabe says. Pizza's ready, Leslie says. With encouragement from the others, Val sings her newest song, accompanied by Tris.
How many years must I wait before I allow myself to love again? How many tears must I cry before my poor heart can finally start to mend? If this is the game called love, I don't wanna play. If I'm not good enough, then just stay away from me while I wipe these tears on my sleeve of broken heart. There was a time when I thought my true love would come and carry me away. But now in my mind, love's an illusion, and I wanna go back to yesterday. If this is the game called love, I don't wanna play. If I'm not good enough, then just stay away from me while I wipe these tears on my sleeve of broken heart. I wipe these tears on my sleeve of broken heart. I wipe these tears on my sleeve of broken heart. I wipe these tears on my sleeve of broken heart.
Val's new song has everyone in a state of elation. Almost everyone. You're awfully quiet, Gabe says to Kathy as she munches beside him. I'm just tired, she says. You okay? She nods. Heaven hands Gabe an orange. How was your dance, he asks. We had fun, she says. But I couldn't stop thinking about you. I'll feel a whole lot better when you're feeling better. A little sleep, dear, and I'll be good as new. Just don't rush it, Heaven says. My little brother's coming up next Saturday. lit up a Newport. I saw him arguing about something, and she starts walking away, but he grabbed her. I thought sure she's gonna slap him, but they wind up kissing instead. Then they rode away in his Jaguar. The guy's married, Candy. Yeah? Almost 40 years. She's older. 70-something? Her old man was a Chicago bootlegger. He made millions and got her roles in some big movies, too, back in the late 20s, early 30s. They've been here about 20 years. How do you know all this, Lynn? Howie. His fairs are always telling him stuff. Is there more? She's in a wheelchair now. Can't even talk. Except imitate what others say. He pays 3 women to look after her. But he stays at the Cross Inn most of the time. Do they have kids? Just one. But he died in Vietnam. She stroked out right after that. Then he meets Charity. He read a poem she wrote about Pearl Harbor. He wrote her, and she wrote him back. Kind of sweet in a way. Kathy walked in. Do you know about Charity and the professor? Candy asked. Gabe and Heaven were sitting on the couch when Charity got in. You look like you're feeling better, she said. Much better, he said. How was your day? Incredible, love. The insurance company's ready to issue the check, finally. And our grant's been approved. We're getting $30,000 to purchase cameras and gear and other stuff. We won't have to pay it back, ever. And I spent a couple hours at Gambrell's. They've got thousands of outfits. Everything we'll ever need. Outfits Buddy Holly and Richie Valens actually wore. And just wait till you see the dresses you'll be wearing, Heaven.